You're now tuned into Media City Radio, Legend in the Game, where we spotlight the icons, the culture shapers, and the voices that move the game forward. I'm your host, Felix Natal Jr., and today we're joined by a true legend in television. Actor, producer, director, and writer J.D. Williams. From his breakout roles in groundbreaking shows like Oz and The Wire to his continued impact on series like BMF and Saint and Sinners, J.D.'s career is a blueprint in longevity, talent, and resilience. Today we talk about the journey from Newark to HBO, the moments that shaped his path, his thoughts on the industry, his favorite roles, and what's next. Welcome to the show, J.D. Williams.
All right, that's what's up. Thanks, Felix. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you. Known each other for a long time. I respect your grind and hustle. You know, you're a legend in your field, so thank you for having me, man.
Of course, man. I'm glad to have you. For those that don't know, where are you from?
Brick City, Newark, New Jersey, and the greater New Jersey tri-state area. Also, you know, I got to do my claiming of B-More, my claiming of North Carolina. You know, I gotta hit those up too. I grew up there too. So.
And at what age did you know you wanted to become an actor?
I didn't really think about taking it seriously until I saw Newark Undercover.
Okay.
And even then, I still was like, well, I'm in an acting school. Newark Undercover seemed like, oh, now they're gonna just be letting young black kids on TV now. So I'll probably get up on it. I think I'm cool enough to do that at some point. And then so I figured I'd get on TV at some point. But once I started taking it seriously, when I was like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I guess once I kind of got the momentum going, when I started working and, you know, the money started coming in, and I just, you know, kept building on it. And like I said, I was already in art high school. So one of my drama teachers, my senior year, she just said, look, I'm introduce you to these people. She took me to the office in the school. We had made a phone call to New York, set up for this agency. I went to the agency the next day in New York. And they sent me, that was Monday we called them. Tuesday I went to see them. Wednesday they sent me my first audition. So I just started going on auditions from then, you know, and I was like so hungry at the time. I just kept, you know, it wasn't nothing for me to just go, show up, be there. So it was like I was hitting like, you know, I don't know, an inordinate amount of auditions, and I kept getting callbacks, and then I started just booking stuff. So, you know, I just kept that going. And, you know, it's different types of acting. So when you're doing commercial, it's different from doing a TV show. So when I was doing commercials, it was like it was fun because it's easy for me to sell you something. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, buy this gum, or you know, this chicken, or whatever it was I was selling at the time. Then when you get to the TV shows, it's different. So yeah, man, just straight out of high school, I just started. My teacher, she basically introduced me to my agent, and my agents just put me to work, and I've just been going since then. Tisha Campbell, Savion Glover, Sarah Vaughn, Michael B., Kat DeLuna, Frankie Negron. A lot of people came out of arts, man. A lot of us. So. I mean, I was always doing something creative, like, or performative, rather, in one way or another. But I never really, it wasn't like I ever pursued it. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was going to do something. Well, I guess I always knew I was going to be doing something that involved words. Mm-hmm. But I thought I would be more like a lawyer, you know. But then I found out how boring that was. And then I wanted to be a geneticist, but I'm bad at math, so I couldn't do that. And then, you know, like I said, I just kind of fell into writing and directing and just, you know, the acting thing. And it just kept, you know, I just kept going, building on it. And fortunately, I was able to recognize the people that I was up under, learning from, you know, while I was working. And I worked under a lot of, you know, great people. So I said, you know, I'm here. I might as well just, you know, do the most with it, you know what I'm saying?
Take advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, of course. So that's what I did. I learned everything I could learn, still learning, did everything I could do, and just keeping it going, you know?
Yeah, Denzel Washington said that recently, that as an actor, you're always learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially when it's like different sides of you. Like somebody could play, like Denzel, people always say he playing himself. It's not that he's playing himself, it's just that he gets the chance to put a lot of his actual personality into the characters. But also in that sense, you get the chance to explore yourself more. You know what I'm saying? Like it's easy to be nice if you're a nice guy, you know, but when you're a nice guy and you playing a bad guy, you're like, what do I really think about this? How far could I really take this attitude right now before, you know, it bothers me and I start to feel something else? You know what I'm saying? Can I act this way and just leave it here? You know, or is it gonna stick with me when I walk out? You know, so. And I think like every actor, most actors do have like a limit. Like you could ask them like, well, what wouldn't you play? There's certain things that actors would be like, nah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't play like, a molester or something like that, or whatever it is. So, every actor has boundaries. Well, not every actor, I ain't gonna say that, but most actors do have boundaries. But it just comes to, putting the little nuances and the little, the little details and stuff on your characters, So
Yeah, that was one of my next questions. Is there a specific role that you would like to do, or or a certain thing that you wouldn't want to do? Or do you feel like you played like what's the correct word? I would say like a lot of stereotype roles that that you would think you would get casted for, or you would like to try something totally different?
I mean, I feel like I get enough different stuff, and I've been slowly expanding as I've been going. It's not like I all of a sudden look older, so now I could just play, you know, some old guy. It's like I'm aging pretty slowly, so I could play a dad, but to some people that's still kind of a stretch. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't see you as a father. I see you as the big brother. The big homie that's gonna take somebody under their wing, or a good soldier. Something like that. People don't really be looking at me like, oh, you could play the grandpa. Or something like that. Even though they know I could. It's just, I think there's a natural inclination that people have towards things. So as I age, yeah, I'm gonna age into, being like the old boss kingpin or somebody's uncle or dad or whatever. But I don't really worry about getting typecast or or anything like that. Like it's all, I think it's up to the actor a lot of time to bring that nuance to the character. You know what I'm saying? Like if you keep playing a thug and people just keep seeing the same thug, that's kind of on you, bro.
Right.
You're supposed to be able to show them a different side to whatever these characters are. You got to bring something to it. So that's what I always try to do. I think the people, my audience, they usually come to me and they usually let me know, like, yo, I can see something deeper in your characters. So I appreciate that.
That's dope. You've been on numerous shows, from Oz to The Wire, Saints and Sinners, and as recent to BMF. Do you have a favorite? And what was your favorite character?
I don't think I mean, like I said, I think I don't have a favorite because, it's all at different times in your life. Like I would say like Oz would have been like my high school years, and The Wire would have been like the college years. So, they all formative in their own way. And then, it was so many people that I got cool with that I learned from on both shows. And then like even Saints and Sinners. So it's hard for me to say favorite, but I will say that I wanted to say, I was going to say where I had more fun, but growing up, and at this time, Felix, when I was seeing you, I was working on Oz at the time. So, that was fun. And then
The Wire is such a classic show.
Yeah, and then hitting The Wire, that was me spending a bunch of time in Baltimore. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed, working on all of those programs, man. Getting to learn so much. I learning about directing and writing and acting. So it'd be really, really hard for me to pick and choose,
Okay, and with with Oz and The Wire, when you were filming, did you think they would come to classic shows that they are today?
I mean, when I was doing them, I wasn't really thinking about that. But when I saw the first episode of Oz, I was like, oh, snap. Like, this is something. Yeah, I knew Oz was going to be something from when I first saw it. Like, right. I didn't even read, I wasn't up on all of the scripts and everything. Because my character came in like the third episode. And we only got like 8 every year. So my character came in the third episode. And I'm only really looking at what my character's doing so that I could keep him separate from the storyline. But on the night of the premiere for that first episode, and they did the whole thing in the movie theater, there was all these people there. And when that first episode went off, I was like, oh snap, I'm in something. I'm on something for real.
And
like
it's HBO too.
Yeah, and I was like, and like I grew up, we grew up watching HBO Dream On, Gary Shandling show, dun, 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 dun. Like all of that. Like HBO was the jam, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh bet. But yeah, Oz, when I saw the first episode of Oz, I definitely was like, this gonna be special. I already knew Oz was gonna be special. The Wire, I knew we had a stellar cast. I didn't know where it was gonna go, cause The Wire was like so slow and it was very dense. So you ain't had no idea where it was gonna go. But I knew it was quality, but I just wasn't sure what it was gonna do. But yeah, Oz, I definitely knew Oz was gonna be something special. And by the time probably I got to maybe the third episode, well, definitely by the time I finished the first season of The Wire, I knew we had something with that too.
Dope, dope. Do you have a favorite scene that you ever shot? He was just like, that was dope.
Yeah, I mean, well, like it was a lot because like they used to let me do a lot of my own stunts, and so I used to just they used to always let me get away with so much stuff like breaking. I used to be the one to break things and do all types of crazy stuff. So just from growing up, they used to always let me be the one to smash through the window or break the cameras or. So it's just a lot of stuff that I got. Had fights, do my own fight scenes, and all of that type of stuff. So. And like I said, I'm blessed because it's really hard for me, like, kind of to single something out because, like, they really, and by them I mean like the people who I've done shows for that have really let me, spread my wings and get really involved in a lot of things. Like on Oz when we did like the riot, like just being able to actually literally tear the setup like apart and they just recording it, that was ill. On The Wire, like I had a whole bunch of great scenes on The Wire that I just enjoyed doing. Like we had shootouts, me smashing up the cop cars, the scene when we meet them in the movie theater, the opening when the buildings get knocked down. Like it was a lot of things. Like so it's always certain scenes that definitely stick out to me. But yeah, man, all of that I just try to put everything I can into it and make everything memorable. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned earlier that this high school you came from, also Michael B. Jordan came from that school as well.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see him becoming the actor that he is today?
Well, I was out of school by the time Mike got in there. So when first time I actually met Mike, I think I was actually visiting the school, and everybody was like, "Oh, the kid that was in Hardball goes here," and I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." So I think I met him. I might have met him a little bit before that. But either way, like that's how I heard about him, because everybody was like, "Oh, after Tisha and Savion came out, and it was you and the other singers, the singer guys, and then after you, it's Mike B and Cat DeLuna. Then after Cat DeLuna, like we got somebody else coming out. So it's our side's always producing somebody.
A lot of talented individuals.
It's always gonna come out of there. So when I definitely heard about him, it was like, oh, the kid Marble. But then I ended up, getting with him on The Wire. And his mom actually, once I met her and, she kind of, sussed me out, was like, yeah, you from Newark, you from Arts, you cool. If my son get to hang out with anybody offset, it's going to be you. So I was very, I was honored that she trusted me with her son. And, me and, that's my little bro. So, hooked him up. But yeah, I really didn't think about it in that terms. We was just trying to just grind it out, man.
Do you have a favorite actor or actress?
Man, you know what? And people been asking me this a lot lately, and every time I get home, it comes into my head, and then as soon as y'all ask me, it jumps back out again. Because it's always somebody that I'm like, oh man, I would love to work with that person. Oh man, I would love to. And especially when I'm thinking about like underrated people, you know what I'm saying? People that nobody ever mentions. Like the other day, I was thinking about Kim Wayans, right?
Right.
And I'm like, damn, like, and there's a lot of people I'll be just thinking in my head, like, they just so dope, and like, yeah, to me, they might be underexposed, to them, maybe that's just what they want. But I mean, there's so many people that like I respect, that I love their craft, that I really, really want to, work with, go head to head with. And yeah, so it's a lot of people that I haven't gotten a chance to, get on camera with, but it's a lot. Like, I'm Don Cheadle, Jamie Foxx, wouldn't mind doing something with Taraji, or like I said, there's like so many people I could just name. But I'm fortunate enough that I do get a chance to run across a lot of people that I would like to work with. So I'm sure I get there, I get a chance to do that work with them.
I was going to say, what it would be your dream role, and then if you could pick one actor to do the film with, and who would you like to direct it?
Well, right now, like, just for, like, seriousness, I would like to play this black inventor named Garrett Morgan.
Okay.
I think that would be fire. And he had a couple of brothers, so I wouldn't mind any one of those people that I just named to play my brother, or, wouldn't mind. Man, that's a lot. That's a lot, because like you got me thinking, like, like I said, I'm thinking about Taraji, even like somebody like Tiana Taylor to play the wife for somebody like that. Like it's like all of these different castings you can do for just fantasy. But yeah, Garrett Morgan, that would be something that's a little passion project of mine. I would really like to see come to fruition because it's a black man that worked on the light bulb, and he invented the gas mask and the radiator and a version of the street light. You know what I'm saying? Like he invented like a hair dye, a hair straightener. So it's like that. Like it's like damn, like a real scientist. So I would really like to play something like that. But definitely that. I just saw Sinners with Coogler. Cougs is doing his thing. I wouldn't mind working with Ryan Coogler, but also, it's a lot of directors I would like to work. I would like to work with Robert Townsend. I would like to work with Spike Lee. I would like to work with Steve Zalian again. I would like to work with, of course, who wouldn't like to work with Steven Spielberg?
Of course.
So, all of the obvious ones and the ones that's not so obvious.
One of my favorites is Michael Bay.
No doubt. Yeah,
He makes some classics.
Cause he about that money,
and
he gonna
makes
blow
some
it up.
dope ass.
Oh,
like his the way he shoots stuff, I just be like, his style is crazy.
Hey man, look, he told him like I like this. Is this epic rap battles? You ever seen those? Mm-hmm. And they did one where it was like the directors, so they had Kubrick, Hitchcock, and Spielberg going against each other, right? Uh-huh. And then Tarantino. Okay. And then Michael Bay just comes in at the end with a breakdown, talking about some y'all making all of that heady artistic mess. I'm gonna show you how to make some money. He just do the breakdown and just go hard. He got explosions in the back, and he just go hard on them, talking about some all like, all right, I'm gonna show y'all how to make some money. Yeah,
I show you how to make these blockbusters.
Yeah, that's what it is. He go hard. It's a jam though. It's hard though. Yeah.
Oh man, when it's all done and said, what would you like to be remembered for?
We was kind of talking about that on the way over here. I think whatever, if once it's all boiled down, is being a good person, because that can entail, being a good father, good husband, good friend, and whatever goes beyond that. But just being a stand-up, a good person, an honest man. I
say that all the time. That's my goal. Is like I want to be remembered more for what I did to help like this next generation of creatives. Like you said, being a family man, a dad. Those are the most important things to me.
Yeah, that's what's gonna live on. After us. Like they talk about like if we say like LeBron and Michael Jordan, right? And we could talk about all the things we want to compare them on, but when we talk about legacy, Michael Jordan's legacy is.
Look at that. He's been gone for 30 years and we're still talking about him.
Still, and it's still not even close.
Not even.
You know what I'm saying? It can't be.
Nope.
So.
Like they always say the closing argument is 6-0.
There you go.
LeBron lost 6 times.
What you gonna do? More than that. It was like 9 now. It's about to be 9. So, but the point being is that like you said, is what we leave behind. What's the legacy? Your legacy is going to talk for you even after you gone. So it's crazy too, because as many things as I've done, I'm glad that regardless of the fact that it's a lot of things, I'm glad that I have things that are substantial that people can always say, yo.
Classics.
Yeah, we're going to remember him for that. Like, he was one of the best characters on one of the best television shows, and that can't be taken, that can't be taken away. So I'm good. That's a good start for me. I can live with that, because people could say like, oh, so-and-so is more famous than you. So-and-so made millions of dollars doing money. Yeah, but none of their characters was as dope as mine.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So.
And actually, that leads me to this question, because I get asked this question, so I'm going to ask you this too, because we're so passionate about the art. And at times, I bet you there's people in our lives that be like, well, why don't you stop doing that, because it's not going the way you want it to go. What do you say to those type of people that would try to discourage you and say, oh, you should stop acting, or in my case, you should stop doing photography and try to do something different?
Well, and I guess for me and you specifically, I mean, especially since we more so in a visual medium, mm-hmm. we got a way to see things in our mind that other people don't really see it. Like, we might know people might see us talk to 10 people, and in our mind, we done laid out how we can navigate those relationships. But people outside will never be able to understand that, and it ain't no real way we can explain it to them, because they're gonna be like, oh, that's all in your mind, you just visualizing that and making it up, but you like, yeah, but
it's all gonna come into fruition.
Yeah, because none of those 10 people wouldn't be lined up if it wasn't for me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it must be my way to think about it. So what I would say to anybody, like, you gotta really, really, believe and establish your vision, and then it's about a consistency with it too, because if people could say something to you and you start hedging or you stuttering and stumbling, it's not going to ever build up that momentum or that strength. You know what I'm saying? You got to really stick with it and go with it, because it's like times when, like, I mean, let's say if I go like a couple of months without work, somebody might be looking at me like, hey, ain't you going to go get a job? And it's like, I kind of can't go get a job. You know what I'm saying? Why you can't get a job? You too famous for a job? Not that I'm too famous for a job, but that's going to take away from the focus of what I've really been putting all my energy into. So you can't really divide your energy like that, because that leaves room for doubt. That leaves room for other people to come and get in your spot. That leaves room for you to start rusting. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a certain way, like, and I guess the short way for me to say this, that I said the long way, is to believe in yourself. But it's just a matter of, you got to really understand that you got a vision that nobody else really going to be able to see. Yeah. And they not going to believe it or trust it until you actually, show it to them and lay it out in front of them,
I told my son that the other day. I'm like, if you're working on something for so long, why would you stop right there? How about if in another day, your big opportunity, your big break that really would change your life, you'd be more discouraged and frustrated later. So don't let nobody ever tell you what you can or can do.
Nah, and that's something I was telling in my class too. Like, I teach, and so I tell people sometimes, like, it's a lot of people that end up doing something for like years, right? And then they be like, well, what do you do? And they be like, I don't do nothing. And I'm like, well, what you been doing? I've just been doing this for years. So then that's what you do. Nah, I'm not really that. That's all you do. That's what you do. You might not be the biggest at it or the richest or whatever, but if all you've been doing for 6 years is engineering, you an engineer. You know what I'm saying? If all you've been doing, if you've been drawing,
you're an artist.
Yeah, you an artist. Like, I mean, there's no, like...
Stop comparing yourself to somebody else.
Exactly. Like, I got into one of my sisters not too long ago. She was like, oh, you're not an athlete. I'm like, I'm not a professional athlete, but I'm pretty fit. I play sports. I can still get up. You know what I'm saying? Nah, you ain't no athlete. So now I'm arguing with her over the definition of being an athlete. And I'm like, I'm not getting paid. I didn't say I was a professional, but I still play.
I can still ball.
You know what I'm saying? Nah, but to her, I'm not that. Right. But however, like I said, it's in the definition, it's in the work you put in, and it's in your consistency. So whatever you do over and over and over and over and over again, that you put your time and that repetition into, that's what you are. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what you are. So, and nobody can take that from you, and that goes for good and bad. You do crack every day, you a crackhead. That's it. If you eat cake or you bake a cake every day, best believe you a baker. And I bet you pretty damn good at it too. So it goes both ways. But yeah, definitely that's how I am. I really do see, like, like, even I had a homie. He sells his own things. He like a vendor, right? You can't tell me that he don't got a store, and he been doing that for like 15 years. Like, he might not have a building, but he has a store. You know what I'm saying? He has his own business. He's a businessman. He's a vendor, right? And so there's people that have their own kind of, they ideas, they definitions. Yeah, somebody might be like, oh, you're not a rapper because you don't sell a million records. You know what I'm saying? You like, but this person sit there and rap all day long, got books and books and books of rhymes, but you gonna say they ain't a rapper. That's crazy.
Never got the opportunity to be discovered yet. That's all it is.
That's it.
And this is waiting for the opportunity.
That's it. And being that if they keep doing what they doing, if that opportunity ever pops its head up, they gonna be so ready. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They gonna blow the roof off of the whole thing. So. And that's kind of, what it's
Facts.
about.
That's it all the time. I've been blessed to work with hundreds of artists. And I always said I know independent artists that are more talented than major artists. It's just they never get the chance to be heard. Yeah. So if they got that opportunity, I'm like, these dudes could destroy half of the real rappers that are really doing their thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That goes.
How it is. Especially when we come from the hood and stuff like that. There's so many. Like they always say, there's so many dudes that could play ball, but
better than Mike. Yeah.
But never got the opportunity, or unfortunately lost their life to the streets, or got locked up, or some dumb stuff that just took them out of that opportunity.
Yeah. That's 100% true. Like I said, I've seen it. I know people. I mean, I think I'm a fine actor, but I know people that I think that act better than I do. But I just know that it's a X factor that I have that maybe they didn't have, whether that was an opportunity or whether it was just an actual attribute, but yeah, it's always something, but it's better to be, over prepared than, under, or it's better to believe in yourself than to not even, try, it's cause yeah, they don't never work out that way. And as I'm in the industry, I see like it's a whole lot of people that I don't want to say that people don't deserve their spot, but I just see like it's like people you like, how did you get that off? And you don't hardly
that talented.
Yeah, you don't hardly do nothing. I can see if you handsome or you pretty or maybe you got family or something, but I be like, man, you just really just fell bass backwards into that, didn't you?
So what's new for you? What projects are you working on at the moment?
Well, everybody, if you caught me on BMF last season, I'll be back there this season, causing a lot of havoc. Shout out to, Stars 50, and the whole BMF family over there. And I got a couple of my own projects. I'm home in Jersey for the next couple of seasons. So we're working on a bunch of our own projects. Me, Kid Wiz Productions, and Newark Projects. We collaborating on a lot of things together this year. Y'all might want to look out for New Arc. And then I got my project also. I got a couple of, projects coming out too. So, yeah, just watch out for the names. Newark Projects, Kid Wiz Productions. We running around.
And also know that you crossed over to do a podcast. Where could they check that out at?
Yeah. 8 Squad Rebel Radio. It's a internet radio station. Matter of fact, 8 Squad Rebel been around for a long time. Local Newark station. Make sure y'all check them out. YouTube, 8 Squad Rebel Radio. The number 8 Squad Rebel Radio. The name of the podcast is What More Can I Say? We just started not too long ago. We about to hit our 5th or 6th week. So, we appreciate it. We're going to have Rod Digger next week.
Dope.
Yeah, so make sure y'all check us out on there. And, yeah, but like I said, like right now I'm home. We're working on these projects. We're trying to get these personal company projects off the ground and get those sold. So that's really what I'm leaning a lot more while I got this. I can't even say it's really downtime, but in between acting projects right now, I'm really trying to sell some shows and get my little producer bag going.
Dope. What advice would you give to those that want to get into acting?
Best thing I could say, be consistent and persistent. But to make it more tangible, first you got to get your pictures. Holla at my boy Felix Natal Jr. to get you some pictures professionally. Hook you up, but get you some pictures. Do submissions to whatever talent agencies that you can, but make sure that you are submitting for what you can actually do. Like some people are commercial actors, meaning that you look good in a commercial. Somebody will buy something from you. You can smile well. Go for commercials. Some people could do comedy, which would be sitcoms or TV shows. Some people are theatrical for the movies or the actual stage, So know exactly, which type of acting you might want to focus on, and then period, point blank, go at that, and then you can kind of start branching out into the other ones, more so or less. I got lucky. I got a chance to kind of jump into all of them all at the same time, and like because I had just came out of high school, I was so hungry. Like
I'll do whatever you want me to do.
And everybody was calling back because I was going so hard, because I just spent 4 years training. So it's like, commercial? Bet I know how to sell somebody some gum. Oh, a sitcom? Oh, I know about comic timing. Oh, you want me to go out for a play? Yeah. And then it's like, I'm not even really reading off the script. I can memorize pretty quick. So I was used to be off book like that. So it was always a big thing. But yeah, you want to get your pictures, get you an agent, make sure you get you some good auditions. Focus on the type of acting you think you would be best at for right now, and go on that. And then it's up to being persistent and consistent, meaning keep hitting the same spot the exact same way over and over again. And eventually it's going to crack.
Do you have a favorite, like what you just mentioned, like how you could do commercial, you could do shows, you could do comedy, you could do...
Yeah, I like doing TV better than I like doing movies, because television lasts longer. You get to live in the character a little bit more. It's faster in a way. But yeah, and it's more work, So I like doing television. I would rather play like a character on a TV show with like 20-something episodes than just like do one movie and be out. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's a movie where it's like a character where I got to keep coming back to play that character, every couple of years because people love, my version of Sherlock Holmes or, whatever it is. But I like that consistency of television. I like that a lot.
Okay, and where could they find you at? Social media?
Oh, yeah. Check me out. Your boy, Brick City's finest, J.D. Williams. J.D. Williams virtually on Instagram and J.D. Williams ENT on Twitter or X or whatever we want to call it now. And, that's my pretty much my social platforms,
Well, I wanted to say thank you for coming out today, brother. I appreciate you, man. It was a
doubt.
pleasure, man.
Always, no doubt. Thank
Much
you for
love.
having me.
God bless.
Oh, yeah, man. Thank you. Appreciate you, Felix. Be well.
That was J.D. Williams, storyteller, trailblazer, and someone who's left a permanent mark on the culture, whether it was Eyes, The Wire, or his latest projects. J.D. continues to show us what it means to stay true to the craft in your community. Big thanks to J.D. for pulling up and sharing the wisdom, the history, and the passion behind his jersey. If you're inspired by this episode, make sure you follow us at Media City Radio and tap the link in our bio for the full interview. Until next time, I'm Felix Natal Jr., and this is Legend in the Game, where stories live, legacies grow, and the culture speaks. Stay locked in and keep chasing greatness. God bless.